Hi, welcome to the Business Class ESL Break Room. We're a company of passionate language trainers and coaches. We're here to share ideas to improve our skills and strengthen the training community. Come in for some inspiration, leave with tips to apply to your sessions today. Hi, and welcome to the ESL Break Room. This is our first visual podcast, and we are doing that because we have a special guest. Emily Bryson is with us today, and you may know her from her very many ESL hats. She's a materials writer, a teacher, trainer. She does work with National Geographic, if I'm not mistaken. And what caught my eye particularly is she is a graphic facilitator. So Emily, we've invited you here because our podcast is all about inspiring business English trainers, keeping them motivated. And I just thought, what a breath of fresh air. This looks like something fun to try out in our training session.
Yes, definitely something a bit different.
Yeah, so welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're delighted. Maybe you could just say a few words about yourself, and then we'll get chatting about graphic facilitation.
Yeah, so I am an author of the Voices series of National Geographic Learning. I've also authored the EdSed VSOL and 50 Ways to Teach Life Skills. And I've got a free ebook on graphic facilitation for English language teaching professionals. I just want to kind of get the word out there because I was introduced to graphic facilitation a few years ago when a graphic facilitator came to my college, and she basically wowed me with drawing super simple icons in class. Like, these are not art, these are communication. They're easy to learn. They're kind of visual vocabulary. And I just thought this can be used for English language teaching in so many ways. And it makes everything work. It makes communication clearer. It's fun. It's engaging. It helps students remember everything.
Yeah.
So there's actually research to show that if you're more likely to remember vocabulary if you draw a picture beside it. So that's really helpful because we're always trying to find ways to help students remember and to conceptualize as well. It's a great way of getting students to discuss the information and think a bit differently about things. It's also a technique that I use. It saves me time. I've got so many zero prep activities from it.
Do you find that?
Earlier this year, there was a moment when my computer didn't work in class. And I thought, what am I going to do? But I just started drawing. And we had a whole lesson on house and home based on drawing on the whiteboard, which took me back to the days when I first started teaching. But it was great. Yeah, I think we kind of lost our way with drawing. I think years ago we kind of drew a lot, and then I don't know, I guess you can look up images online really quickly now.
Yeah.
And now, so now it's nice being able to draw again. But so I'm an author and a graphic facilitator and an inclusion. I'm very big on inclusion, which is also one of the reasons why graphic facilitation is great, because I find it's another great way of making things more accessible. I don't know if you've seen my sketch notes.
Oh yeah, I do. I'm on your mailing list, and I've received, your materials, and I've seen some of your things for sure. And I've seen these, and I know that inclusion is such a big issue and a big topic these days that we need to be more aware of. So it's great that you're bridging that with the graphic facilitation.
Because I just find that, I don't know about you, but sometimes reading, it can take so long to read things. And I find that if you've got a visual, like a sketch note or a visual recording of something, you can look at the information really quickly, digest the information really quickly. And it's great for maybe if a learner's got dyslexia or other kind of neurodiversities. And also just for me, I would rather read a sketch note than read a research article. I don't know about you, but
oh God, yeah.
Or a whole chapter of a methodology book. Give me a sketch note that summarizes that chapter, and that would be my preference anyway.
I think there's something so innate in human beings with drawing. I mean, I mean, that's my bias personally, because I like to draw in my own free time and I never find time to do it. So to be full disclosure, when I saw what you were doing, I was like, oh, I could draw in the class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps you focus and
But yet it does, as you mentioned, the studies that show we retain better, and it is true. The brain likes images. We work with images, but if you go back to, in France, I'm in France, the caves at Lascaux and early cave paintings, human beings have always drawn to communicate.
Yeah.
I think it's very innate in our nature. So I think it is something very personal to be doing, and it brings a touch of humanity.
And I think a lot of people have said to me, do you think that drawings are maybe childish in a way? And actually, if you think about it, well, actually, graphic facilitation has its roots in design industries like architecture, engineering, and it's often used in business as well. But if you think about it, the buildings wouldn't exist without drawings. New technology wouldn't exist without drawings. So anybody that tells you that drawing is childish is quite misinformed, I would say.
I think they really, that's a beautiful point. And actually, someone just asked me that, when I was explaining what we're going to talk about today, and they were like, aren't these a bit childish? And I said, okay, so maybe we could address that right now, you and me. Anyway, like if we're dealing with business professionals, we need to learn. You mentioned graphic facilitation drawing is being brought into meetings now. I've seen that a lot. How would you approach that if you had a group of, ESL, business people who are in a session with you?
Yeah. Well, so you could use drawings, and there is actually, I like to make my learning as accessible as possible and differentiate it to different groups. And actually, I think there's a magic in the drawings, and it brings out creativity and inspires people. So I would keep that. But I think if you, I don't know, if you're not sure, you can actually cheat a little bit. Don't tell anyone. But you could also just use icons maybe from the Noun Project, which is our free website that has icons. So you could use those. They're great to copy for inspiration for your drawings as well. So there are ways around it. Things like Mural is a website where you can get templates which are already pre-drawn or graphically generated to be super, super clean looking. So you could use those if you really didn't want to get away from the drawing aspect. But personally, I think drawing adds a creativity and a magic and a kind of superpower.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a visual recorder? So somebody in the background drawing a meeting or taking sketchnotes live, for example?
I haven't seen it live. I've just seen.
Okay, because that can be quite an amazing thing to see, and so if you've got a meeting and somebody is visually sketching that meeting out and taking visual minutes, it can be really inspiring for the people there. Something to look back on. I often find when I go to a conference, for example, that so when I first started going to conferences, I would take notes on paper and then I would never look at them again. And then I thought, I'm going to start taking notes on my phone. So I got an app on my phone and I was using that and taking notes on that. And then I never looked at them again. I do sometimes search them, it has to be said. But now, since I learned sketchnoting, I look at them and I put them on my website and they go on my social media and I look at them again and I remember that session really, really vividly.
Yeah.
So you could use a visual recorder in meetings. There's a few visual templates. Do you want me to show you them?
Maybe we could just take one step back for anybody who's really not got a clear idea of what it looks like, what you do when you're doing graphic facilitation in your session, to give them, if they've never heard of it, what it means, and then we can look at templates.
Okay. So graphic facilitation is basically using simple icons and hand-drawn images and visual templates. So visuals, basically using visuals to facilitate your sessions. So it can be to start a discussion or to generate ideas or simply to record information. In a language classroom, I use it quite a lot, maybe for rubrics. So to make rubrics more accessible, so that students, I often find students don't read the rubrics in textbooks. I don't know about you. Certainly at lower levels, I teach a lot of lower level learners. And yeah, so I think rubrics can be simplified that way. So graphic facilitation is basically using visuals, hand-drawn ones, especially to make learning more accessible and to get people thinking, really. I think when you see the visual templates and the kind of icons, it will all start to kind of make sense more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so if you have something you want to show us or share with us.
Okay, so I'll start off with some icons. So I drew some icons that were businessy first.
Not the most exciting, probably, but
no, I think they're exciting. Can you see that? There's like a light bulb and
a little light bulb and the little magnifying glass.
Yeah, so I'll just get the annotation. So I use quite a lot of annotation tools. Do you know how to? Yeah, so annotation tools in Zoom are a great way of. I'll show you that once I get to the visual templates. But yeah, this light bulb here. Okay. So you'll notice that all these are very simple and easy to draw. Mm-hmm. So the light bulb is basically comprised of a U shape and then a little Z or an M sideways.
Yeah.
And then here we've got another M. Sorry, I'm sharing this screen. I should probably have shared my other screen, so I'm kind of looking over to apologize. Okay. And yeah, and then you can add these to show that the light bulb's on. And the beauty of the light bulb is that you can use it in so many different ways. So can you think of any ways that you can use a light bulb to represent? What would it represent?
Ideas, creativity, absolutely.
Yeah. So you can use it for things like inspiration, creativity, knowledge, critical thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can use it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I love is how you just broke it down. You just showed us that that's a C, that's an M, that's another M. So anybody who says, but I can't draw.
Exactly.
You can.
You can. Yeah. So if you can write the alphabet and you can do a circle, square, and triangle, you can draw.
Brilliant.
Especially using graphic facilitation style of drawing. It's really simple. And actually, so I would use, if you're looking, maybe doing a business meeting, and you're looking for ideas, it can be quite inspiring to just draw a light bulb, maybe without the kind of filament bit in the middle. And then people can kind of come up and maybe draw it on a whiteboard or a flip chart. And then participants can come up and add their ideas using sticky notes.
Oh, yeah.
As a way, and then that can generate some discussions from there.
Gets people moving around, which is
it gets people moving around. The visual itself is something a bit different as well, so it's a different way of approaching things. And then this next one is the magnifying glass, so that's quite good for like searching, looking for information, research, finding out more, focusing on things. So each icon is a visual vocabulary, but it's kind of like English. Like if you learn 100 words or 200 words, you can get by. If you learn a language, so if you learn like 100, how to draw 100 things, even 30 things, or these 10, and use them again and again and again, you can get by.
It is a language. It is a language.
Yeah, it's a visual language. It's a visual vocabulary. So my new course that's coming out very soon is Build Your Visual Vocabulary. It will be out before this podcast's released, I'm sure.
Brilliant. Okay.
And yeah, that will teach you how to draw all these icons. So yeah, this one's just a circle and then a little line and then a rectangle. So 100% people can draw this.
Absolutely. I think that's great though, because there are people who will say, I can't draw. And if you're just shown a few basics.
Yeah. And again, this could be used as a container. So you could do it without the question mark in the middle, and then people can use sticky notes to add things that they maybe need to focus on. So maybe if you're in a meeting, like a strategy meeting, what are the important key points that we need to really be looking at? What do we need to be researching? What do we need to be finding out? That could be a good way of generating ideas. So you could have multiple flip charts around the room, one for ideas, one for research that's needed or things that need to be focused on.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. And then this laptop is a good way of representing work, study, learning, online participation. And yeah, again, it's just a rectangle, a couple of lines to show reflection. This is just a crisscross of lines, the keyboard. So it's all really super, super simple.
So simple, yet it translates immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think many people would not know what that was. It's like right away. and that's the immediacy of drawing, I think, is what connects to understanding.
Yeah, and
is that language.
It needs to be quick. Like you draw, if you're facilitating a session or teaching, you don't want to be up there doing a detailed Da Vinci.
Yeah.
You're not drawing the Sistine Chapel. Everybody's just going to be so disengaged watching you do that. They want to be involved. So it needs to be very, very quick.
Yeah.
And if it's a little bit, I don't know if this is a Scottish word, ski whiff. If it's a little bit,
I think it is.
Is it? So ski whiff is a Scottish word. It means squint or a little bit out of place, out of shape.
Okay.
If it's like that, that's okay. It's so long as it communicates the point and gets the point across and looks vaguely like a light bulb or a magnifying glass or a laptop, that is totally fine. It's not art, it's communication. Yeah, so this one is a rosette. So you could use that for maybe a certificate or a quality stamp or learning, qualification, first class prizes, all these kind of things.
Yeah, customer service,
service.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
See that.
And again, you could use the laptop. You could take the 2 slashes out of the laptop to use it for a container on a flip chart for ideas again with sticky notes, and take the number 1 out of this rosette as well to do the same. So each of these icons, if you make them big enough and give them enough space, you can use them as containers to generate ideas and kind of to activate schemata on a topic.
Yeah, fabulous. I love this.
Yeah. And then these jigsaw pieces, any idea what they might represent? Really putting you in the spot.
Teamwork. Well, because I'm team.
And then this one.
I would think, working with others, teamwork.
Okay, yeah.
That's where I go with that.
Yeah, it could be connections or disconnect. It could be disconnect, or it could be connect. It could be problem and then solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so lots of different ways that you can use these things. Missing pieces. I quite like to have a picture of a head with a kind of jigsaw piece missing at the back, and then somebody slotting the jigsaw piece in to show learning or knowledge acquisition, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's clever. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, and lots of arrows in graphic facilitation too to show connections and then graphs. Graphs can really tell stories. So growth, I'll quite often draw graphs with just one line. So to motivate my students, I'll draw a graph from the bottom corner up and say, okay, those students that study really hard and work very hard will go up like this. Okay. Their learning will be on the upward trajectory. But for learners who maybe don't come to class and aren't so motivated, maybe their learning will kind of go down the way. And I find that's like really motivating for my students. I've seen quite a lot of light bulbs going on and, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting ideas.
Yeah, but it's a good way of telling any story. So like, for example, my drawing story over time would maybe start quite high when I was at school, because I drew quite a lot at school. And then after university, it kind of dropped off. And then after I met the graphic facilitator at my college, I started drawing again and it came up again. So you can use it for like maybe career stories, how motivated you've been over time, professional development over time, how much you feel that you've learned, that kind of thing.
And you tied that into the language lesson, present perfect. I have, in my life.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Clever. Yeah.
Clever.
And then this one can be goals and targets. So this is just 3 little O's. And the middle one's coloured in, and a little arrow. Here's this is an example of a little ski whiff arrow. When I finished this yesterday, I was like, oh, now I've made it worse. But it's okay because it looks like an arrow. It's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be perfect.
And it's in motion. It's it's something.
Yeah.
I could say.
So yeah, if you wanted goals or targets, you could make this bigger and then have people add their ideas for goals or targets. You could maybe have the most important target in the middle and the least important targets around the outside. These kind of things.
It's amazing. In my head, as you're saying that, the grammar points are like connecting into comparing most important, least important, or future. And going to,
you
want to get them speaking about what I'm,
Going to, for future plans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All kinds of ways to apply that in a language session. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Like all these little icons, if you learn them, you've got 0 prep activities right there and then.
That's
2
speaking
hands that you can just whip out whenever you need them. It's kind of dog me plus in a way, I suppose.
Amazing.
Yeah. Like I genuinely feel like it's my superpower since I've learned it. This one, the easy way to draw people is basically an N shape with an O.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to draw multiple people, draw like an M and then an N, or however many M's you want, and then little heads. If you want to draw the back of their heads, just flip them around, and instead of putting eyes, just put a couple of little lines, and that shows that they're looking the other direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, this kind of shows group work, teamwork, working together, collaboration.
Absolutely, with the little circle around them, it's putting them in.
You could use this as a container as well, maybe for who's your ideal team, and then have people that put their ideas in for maybe the roles that are needed, or the skills that are needed in their ideal team, or the people within their team and what they actually bring to the team. Could be something like that.
Yeah.
Did you have another idea? I feel like you were about to say something there, and then
sorry. No, just it reminds me. One thing I would have done on occasion, kind of naturally with the whiteboard, is with lower or beginning levels, I would find myself drawing, because I like to draw a person, but I would make them tell me, who is this person? And then they would have to tell me what is their name, and they would have to say, okay, this is so and so, they are, how old are they, what do they do for work, all those language points. But as they were doing that, they would just laugh at the drawing or have fun with the drawing, especially if they would choose a name of someone they knew. So then they're connecting it with their colleague, or this is my colleague. Or I would say, okay, give me a typical XYZ company, your company employee. And then they would describe them out, and then I would draw it. And they really enjoyed it. We all had a lot of fun with it. So it was kind of similar idea, not even realizing.
Lovely idea. Great.
Yeah, it was lots of fun.
Great. Will I show you a visual template as well? Yeah.
So this is what we would do on our own, but now you're saying there are some supports out there, materials that people could.
Yeah. So this is a, let me just go back. How do I go back? Sorry.
It's okay.
Everything's in the way. Okay. So this is a visual template. Basically, it's an M shape. And so you could use this is a completed visual template, but you could have it as an empty visual template, just with the roadmap's really common. So basically an M shape, and then a road into the middle, or it can be a river if you want it to be a river.
Okay.
And then here is maybe you're making 5-year plans for your own career. Where do you want to be in the future? And then where are you now? And then along the way, how are you going to get there?
Okay. And is this something you go to a website and download kind of thing? Or
you can no, you just draw it yourself.
Or you just draw it yourself. Sorry, when you said completed template, I didn't know.
So this is my completed template. It's on one of my blog posts, actually. Okay. So if you go to emilybrysonelt.com, this is a blog post of mine. And you will see this. You will be able to use this in class. So you could use that as an example for the students. Okay. But yeah, just draw it out with an M shape and then a little line, and then have them add now. And the beauty is you don't actually need the students to draw. If they want to draw, they can. If they don't want to draw, you could just get them to add their information by themselves with writing. Yeah. Or with sticky notes. Or I did a bit of, so I'm working on an action research project at the moment as a mentor, and I decided this year I would do a bit of in-action research in class. So the last few years since becoming a graphic facilitator, I've been actively encouraging my students to draw in class. Okay. And this year I thought, I'm not going to do that. maybe I've become that annoying teacher that's trying to get them to do things that maybe they don't really like, but they're doing it anyway to humor me. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'll just draw and see what they do. And within a few weeks, they were actually all just copying my little drawings. They hadn't been asked, but they were just adding them to their notebooks by themselves. So I kind of almost inspired them to draw, I like to think, which was really heartwarming to me to see. And especially my students, some of them have very limited study skills from their first language, maybe haven't been to school. Some of them don't have literacy in their first language, so they can't actually write the words down. But if they can draw little pictures beside them, then that's a way of them having something to study from at home.
That's beautiful. I bet you see progress really quickly with that. Compared to previously trying just to use letters,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So you can use this as a visual template. You can use that in very many ways. So it doesn't need to be about career planning. It can be about maybe future planning of the organization, a 1-year plan, 2-year plan, 3-year plan, however long you want to make it. Yeah, it could be business strategy rather than actual personal growth. Yeah.
That is beautiful. And what have your learners said? Like, what's been the feedback you might have gotten from people after they've started working with this kind of?
A lot of them, it's more kind of the facial expressions because they've never seen it.
Yeah.
You kind of look at it and go, oh, this is a bit different. And they've enjoyed it. And yeah, I think a lot of them have enjoyed learning how to, like, a lot of them have said to me, oh, you're very good at drawing. And I say, well, actually, like, look at that. And we have a bit of a laugh sometimes. I always like to point out the flaws in my drawing as well, because I think it makes them feel less intimidated by it, and to know that everybody makes mistakes with their drawings. But yeah, they've responded well, and yeah, they like it. And a lot of them, I have a feeling when they go up the levels and they go into the other classes, the other teachers will start noticing, oh, she's definitely had Emily at one point.
There's a telltale sign.
Yeah, but a lot of my team have been taking it on as well. I've been I go into the classroom and they've left like little drawings up for me. Look what I've been doing. Thank you for inspiring me. So, yeah.
I think it's really right.
It's contagious.
Contagious, but also totally, to use the word zeitgeist, it's like of our time now, because we're so visual, because social media, computer, you cannot get away from how visual we've become, and even how, like, I don't know if it's just a French thing, but here I noticed that comic books are huge, and I know, like, graphic novels are huge, but I think the younger generations almost can't imagine. My own daughter, she's 10, but she can't imagine reading. She doesn't want to read pages. She wants to see images. And I think we're just much more attuned to visuals as a society right now. So this is perfect. A nice way to augment that and use it. For, which is
I absolutely love graphic novels. And actually one of the ways of kind of building my visual vocabulary has been reading as many graphic novels as possible.
Cool.
So, yeah, I've got a few sitting here. This is one I really like. So I teach English to people seeking refuge, and this is Welcome to the New World, Waking Up in Trump's America.
Oh, good Lord.
And then Persepolis, which is about an Iranian girl.
Yeah.
Oh, this is one of my favorites, actually. The Roles We Play by Saba Khan. And it's about a Muslim woman who lives in the UK and the different roles that she plays. So, like, woman, mother, daughter, architect, graphic artist.
Interesting.
Like, kind of questioning, who am I?
It's a great idea.
Love it.
Thank you. That's a great idea. I can imagine recommending that to certain learners.
Yeah, and they're lovely to use in class as well. So you can blank out the words and get people to add their own.
Fabulous.
And just discuss it. Yeah. You can actually, so I write blog posts for Ellie.com. And one of the blog posts they asked me to write was, can you teach a class using just this picture? So I took a photograph and wrote a blog post about it, and I managed to get 3 hours teaching out of one picture. So that blog post, if you search for it, it will come up. It's on the Ellie.com blog under my name. So
Ellie.com.
Sorry? Yeah, Ellie.com, ELLII.com.
Okay. Okay, we'll definitely have to check that out. So just a few more questions I would have, like imagining someone has never seen this and they're a trainer and they're like, my goodness, well, where do I start? What would you recommend or what?
Well, you can do my course, which is Build Your Visual Vocabulary. So that's videos, lots of videos on different topics. Some things like classroom vocabulary, things like speaking, listening, pronunciation, how to draw very key English language teaching icons. And then my next courses coming up will be on graphic facilitation, kind of more visual template orientated, like what we're looking at now.
Excellent. Are your courses recorded or are these live that people?
So some of them, I stopped sharing just now, I guess. So my courses are, my Build Your Visual Vocabulary course is recorded, but I also have some live courses as well. So that's just a case of joining my mailing list and keeping an eye on my social media and having a look at my website and seeing what's available at the time, because I like to change things and mix them around and make things maybe into a workshop. If I just focus on visual templates, for example, rather than a full 6-week course.
Okay.
The 6-week courses have done really well. It's lovely seeing everybody's all my participants' work, and they still message me. And there's a graphic facilitation in English language teaching Facebook group for anybody that does my courses. So you can join them, and then people share all the work, and it's so lovely to see. And it's a good way of getting inspired to use the ideas as well. But I've got lots of blog posts on graphic facilitation on my blog as well. So that'd be a good place to start. Start with my blog.
Start with the blog. Okay.
Start with the blog.
I love the idea of just the community that you can then find around that, because as trainers, often we're freelancers and we're kind of out there on our own, and it's really nice to have connections. So that's really great.
Yeah.
Do you need anything special to start? Do you recommend, I don't know, markers, or is there anything, tools of the trade?
I would like to say that because we are teachers, all you need is a black board marker.
Yeah.
Or whatever color of board marker, or a pencil, or whatever you normally use for teaching.
Yeah.
If you want to get super techie about it, and if it becomes a thing in your life, you could get so this is my flip chart, which I've just attached to the wall with a couple of panel pins. Or you can get, for moving things around. You can get like a visualizer, which is basically a document camera, or a 21st century overhead projector.
Okay, there you go.
So basically just connects, and then you go to on Zoom or whatever you're using, just select that as your camera, and then it will show your hand drawing as you're drawing.
That's how that's done. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Or you can connect it up to you can connect it up to maybe a tablet or a drawing tablet if you want to get super, super, super techie, and if you're keen on digital. I quite like getting away from the screen, to be honest, but it's a kind of excuse for me to get the paper and pens out. But I do work digitally as well. Like my sketch notes and visual recordings are quite often, the ones that I do professionally anyway, are digital.
Okay.
Yeah, well, my sketch notes from like conferences, they're just pen and paper. Actually, a good thing to have is a friction marker. You want to get into sketchnoting. If you have a friction marker, they're erasable. So if you make a mistake, you can erase them. And you can get them as felt tips. Well, a felt tip, I don't know if you call it a felt tip if it's an erasable pen, but
it works like that thin marker.
But it has a feel like a felt tip, and then this has a feel like a biro. And they're both friction, so Frixion, pilot friction markers. And they're great for practicing.
Excellent. Well, I've seen those here, so
Yeah.
we can get them. Well, this has been really inspiring. Thank you so much, Emily. Can you just give us the best address that people can reach you, or maybe give us your website address in case someone
Okay,
wants that.
so I'm on emilybrysonelt.com,
Mhm.
and I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as at Emily Bryson ELT, and you can get me on LinkedIn just by searching for my name.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that we've been able to inspire some people to give it a go, and maybe we'll come back to you and let you know.
Yeah,
Do.
I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been really fun. I really appreciate your time.
It's been fun for me too. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for joining us in the Business Class ESL Break Room, a podcast designed to bring business English trainers useful ideas, inspiration, and conversation that motivates. Follow us on Instagram at business_class_language and subscribe to the ESL Break Room playlist on Spotify, Deezer, or Apple Music for new episodes. See you next time.